Hello again, everyone. Welcome back once again to Cashew Time. When you think of Minecraft, images of computers, combat, or maybe even community can pop into your head. But more than likely, you think about nature. The sweeping hills that you see in the distance that once you boot up in a world, you can be almost certain that you are the first and only ever person to see those hills. For some people, that's a big draw for the game. It is for me too. But what if you had a way to grab that nature by the throat and throw it into an industrial grinder? Well, today that's exactly what we'll be doing, more or less. We're looking today at farms for plants. This is how Google defines a plant. Yeah, that looks right to me. But oh wait, what's that? A second definition for plant? Now that gives me an idea. One musky boy here, and today we've got a bizarre intersection of nature and machines to look at. We're going to be making farms for not one, but at least 6 different items. Some of them, of course, more useful than others. Many of you may remember the second adventure I had in this world, where I got Minecraft's most Red Bull endorsed form of transportation. And the big idea of that giant creeper farm was to subsidize my shocking consumption of rockets, which make you fly much faster with the elytra. Now, the recipe for rockets, which I have so gracefully explained before, is not just gunpowder, but also paper. Now, paper is a product of sugarcane, of which I have lots of. Or at least I did. See, running around in circles to get sugarcane is something which I just refuse to do anymore. This is a huge waste of time when I know that there exists a machine that can do it for me. I've put it off way too long. So today, that job is dying to industrial automation, and I will never have to break a stalk of sugarcane ever again. And maybe you're thinking, hey, isn't the sugarcane farm kind of a low ball for one of these videos? And you'd be right, I'm a thinker, and I thought of that. And for that reason, we're gonna be throwing in a big bundle of plants into this farm too. But first, a side quest. This one's a big deal. After designing some early models for a sugarcane farm, it became apparent to me that I was lacking a very important material that I would need to make powered rails. That's right, it's the rank that I just can't seem to escape in any competitive video game. It's gold. I put off making a gold farm for a long time. I mean, it's been over 2 years since I started the world. I just kept thinking that it would be great to make a full video on it at some point. But once I realized that I could do it in a little more than about a day, I decided to leave it simply as a side quest. So today we're taking a big leap in terms of resource acquisition, and we're creating a mechanical monstrosity that will give the death penalty to an uncountable number of zombie pigmen. Now, call me lazy, but I didn't plan on putting much mental effort into designing a gold farm, so I'm using a really creative design from a channel called Dashpum4. If you want to copy it, I've left a link to that video in this video's description. Well, what were some of the things that I needed for the gold farm? First, I had to gather about 1,000 magma blocks from the nether, which took like 30 minutes. That is, up until I realized that I couldn't read and I actually needed 10,000 magma blocks. So I went back and mined for many hours until I had 6 shulker boxes full of stuff. And with that out of the way, most of the other materials are pretty easy to get. For instance, I still have thousands of obsidian from a farm that I made way back in a shulker video, from like 18 months ago. That was solved. Now, the positioning of this farm felt very intentional to be near my nether hub, but just out of the spawn radius of the nether side of the shulker farm, so that it wouldn't interfere with this farm's rates. I tried to think about symmetry for whenever I update the nether hub for some time in the future. Now, as you can see, the farm uses lots of turtle eggs. For some reason, a lot of Minecraft mods, particularly zombie pigmen, are keen on destroying these eggs. They pathfind to try to break them, and that's the key to this farm working. By placing these platforms like this with magma blocks in the nether waste biome, the only thing that can spawn here is zombie pigmen, meaning we don't get interference from other mobs spawning here. So finally we got to put that 10k of magma to use. And as we got closer to the top, we got to use another resource that I happen to have lots of, which is glass. There is a slight spawning mechanic advantage to having all this glass here, but to be honest, I don't understand why. But I really don't have to. Next in the process of making this farm was building the overworld counterpart of it, which was north of the Guardian farm that I made a few videos back. I built up a platform way in the air, and then just kept building up, just like the video told me to. Most of the zombie pigmen would be funneled through this chamber in order to make sure that the killing chamber is more efficient. They shove each other into water streams, which push them into a different nether portal that's at the top of the chamber, which will then send them into the killing chamber back inside the nether. And what does the finished product look like? Well, fast forward the storage system I had to build, which the replay mod didn't record for some reason. And we get this atrocity. We can kill more zombie pigmen than we can count on the screen. Overall, this farm produces about 1,500 blocks of gold every hour. So we'll probably never run out of gold for the future. So powered rails, easy. Now what's next on the list for our super duper nature farm? Well, redstone is a must-have, so I did some hours of mining for it, and now I also have about 1,000 diamonds. Next up, I was a little low on glass, so went back to my foolproof method of farming it, which means selling iron from the iron farm to villagers, then buying glass from my librarian station on the northwest island that I have. This is just the way I've always done it, and maybe that should change soon, but that's a problem for later. Now, I also got a bunch of different dyes, which was boring, but getting the ink sacks for the black dye was kind of fun, because I get to swan dive into the water like this over and over. I'm like the only natural predator of squids. Next, we had to do some concrete gathering, getting sand, and then wetting white, black, and then green concrete. I already have dedicated spots for all that stuff, so of course this was pretty simple. And now the very last thing that I had to do was light up the area that I had planned for the thing. The build was going to go in the southwest area of my big old kingdom, which is where I plan to keep most of the nature-based farms already. I placed hundreds of torches and made sure to leave room for the actual building. You can probably see that the coastline hasn't actually been terraformed yet, and I'm just going to ignore that for now. And now we finally get to the start of the main attraction, which, like I said, is going to be a gigantic amalgamation of plants that merge together into one super duper nature farm. So, of course, we start with some of the frame using oak logs and move to the very base of it, fitting in the mechanical parts that'll move everything around. What we have here are actually going to be the sugarcane and bamboo farms. Sugarcane was the first thing I decided I needed for this farm, and like I said, we need it for paper, and more specifically for making rockets. Bamboo, on the other hand, not quite as useful. There's some fancy wood that you can make with it, and you can make lots of sticks. However, it is probably still good to have access to them anyway. Now, maybe it's a little too fast to see. For each floor, there are minecarts that run beneath a small field of plants, where flying machines will be used to harvest those plants. Then the minecarts beneath the floor will collect all these plants and spit them out on the other side. And all we had to do is repeat this building process 5 times. And I did take the time to try to make the farm not just functional, but fun to look at. I used a checkerboard pattern on most of the walls to give it a bit of a modern look, despite the products it makes being so earthy. And like most of my projects, symmetry was a big theme. The farm for sugarcane was virtually identical to the farm for bamboo, which admittedly made the design process in this stage a lot easier. Now, again, as creative as I had to be for this project, the design for the sugarcane farm does come from another channel. This time, it's a YouTuber called Kmond as the inspiration. Like always, that's in the video description. I actually took that design and almost copied it to make the bamboo farm too. And with that crediting out of the way, we finally reached the final layer of this pair of mirrored farms. This one was slightly different from the previous layers, but almost identical. And with that done, I moved to a more decorative process of adding columns on the outside of the building, first with stone brick walls and then with spruce wood fences. This one felt really goofy to see in the replay mod because of how many times I had to go around the build, but I think that these added some good depth to the architecture and made it better detailed. And once I finished all that nauseating spinning, I put a lid on the build for good. But then I got to do something that was a little more fun, which was adding some pixel art as a way to label these farms. First we got the sugarcane farm in the southern building, then the bamboo farm on the north side. And once I finished the front, I had to put them on the back too. And I tried putting a ring of sea lanterns around them for better contrast, and it actually worked really well, so I opted to put them on the front as well. So we were left with a very recognizable emblem on both of these farms, so that they can be identified from far, far away. And then, almost immediately, I decided that the lid had to be removed for the next stage of the design. I had at least a couple more items that this thing was going to be farming, and to make it all work well, this part probably just shouldn't be there for that. And while I was digging out some of these stone bricks that I had just placed, something terrible happened. For the first time, in 17 months, in 28 days, I died. I died to just one really precise creeper that spawned at just the right place for me to not see it. And it was on this random little rooftop to a single creeper explosion. It was unbelievable. In an instant, I was gone. And now I have never been so thankful that I am not playing in hardcore, because this would be the greatest reason to never play Minecraft ever again. But thankfully, because of my intricate nether hub, I was able to get back in time and didn't lose any items. So I got back to work on the farm, getting a few last materials and still reeling a little bit from that tragedy. And in the designing stage, I learned that amethyst clusters actually have a use. You can break moving minecarts with them, and that would be really useful for the upcoming pumpkin and melon farm that I would be making. The replay mod bugged out again here, but I was able to salvage some of the construction footage. Pumpkins and melons are even lower on the tier list of farmable plants, but you can sell them to villagers for emeralds, or you can make pumpkin pies or potions of regeneration. I don't plan on doing either of those, but if I ever need to, it's cool to have them here anyway. I'll reiterate one last time, this is not a farm that I made from scratch. Again, I almost exactly copied from another channel. This time, the lucky designer was a YouTube channel called GiorgioJGZ, a channel that was shockingly close to my own subscriber count. This farm is really similar to the below farms, using flying machines to harvest pumpkins and melons instead. But these flying machines are more complicated, because they have to first press a trapdoor into the pumpkins and melons, and then immediately remove those trapdoors right after. And for that reason, this was a kind of expensive farm as far as redstone goes, but you don't have to worry about that, because I have the power of time lapses. I also have thousands of concrete blocks that make up most of the decorative structures around this pumpkin and melon farm. And to any person looking up at the farm, I absolutely want them to know that this is a melon and pumpkin farm on top, so some more pixel art is warranted. First, I used all the green stuff that I had, filling in the holes I'd left for the melons. And once they were filled in on all 4 sides, I got to the pumpkins, which followed a similar pattern and went just as smoothly. And once all 4 of the pumpkins were in, I came to the roof of the build, which was relatively simple given all the architecture I'd had to design below. And with the architecture of the build finished, there were only a couple more steps left. First, I went back to one of the staples of a Cashew time video, which is terraforming. And this time, I have a super duper dirt farm to subsidize it. I actually put off this terraforming from the last video, but now I got it done. So we're all good. And with this last step of terraforming, the entire contiguous island that I've made most of these builds on was complete. Now, what's another staple of a Cashew time video, you might be asking?
I'm looking at the screen.
All right,
what am I
cool.
supposed to be looking at here?
That is the new creation over there.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I have not been caught up. I thought I was supposed to be looking at the mountain.
Nope. You've already reacted to the mountain.
I've reacted to the mountain?
You have, yeah.
Is it in a video?
Yes. What do you think that's a farm for?
Some bamboo in there.
Uh-huh. Well, the one on the right is bamboo.
Okay, well, nice spoil. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay, I'm back. I got a candle that's called pumpkin bourbon, and I'm not gonna lie, that orange color looks pretty similar to this pumpkin bourbon, so I'm gonna guess that's a bourbon farm.
True. Yeah. Okay, cool, cool.
Obviously a smart guy like me would know.
Sugarcane, bamboo, bourbon, and melons.
It's a melon. That's what I'm saying.
You enter in from here from the nether hub. Pumpkin/melon farm directly beneath us. We're gonna watch this thing go. Wow. Look at that. Look at it go.
God. This might be the greatest thing I've ever seen. I think I was interpreting.
Meow.
Holy shit.
Check this out. Check it out. Oh. Boom. Down here. Up the pipe. Through this pipe. Boom. Into the automatic sorters. When there's too much of them, boom. In a circle until they get sorted.
Dude, those melons are on ice. Holy shit.
True. Amounts. I'm going to take a guess here. It's like 4 shulker boxes of pumpkins in an hour. Something like that. 15 shulker boxes of these in an hour. Something like that. It's a lot. It's a lot of melons. Now, sugarcane and bamboo. Sugarcane. Oh my god. Flying machines. Not only flying machines, but also minecarts that pick up the sugarcane from beneath it. And they get flooded down here. Where eventually, sent down this long, long pipe. Meow. Up this pipe. Meow. Over here. All the way down here. Sorted into a shulker loader. Again, if there's too much, they get flooded into the circle until they're able to fit into this. And then, when the shulker box fills, that gets dispensed through a different pipe. And gets sent that way, then up to here. Whoa. Into these chests.
This is a really long, convoluted process to be.
Yeah. But now, I can make a very large number of rockets with almost no effort, really. So this is just a bunch of empty shulker boxes to put into here so that the thing doesn't, break. We can make a rocket factory. That is on the table now.
A rocket factory would be super based. It would
be
like, are you familiar with Lockheed Martin?
So on this side, we have bamboo. Bamboo grows faster, so this is a bit of a more efficient farm.
Why is there so much bamboo just being left behind? Oh, I see.
Up that pipe. Meow.
I really like when you follow these pipes.
Yeah. Meow. Up this pipe. Down this way. Over here. Into this. This is a little shy of 100,000 bamboo here from maybe 2-3 hours of just sitting here.
What's the purpose of having a bamboo farm?
You can use it for fuel. You can use it for bamboo blocks. Like there's certain wood types. What do we think of the farm so far?
I guess a good question is, what's your least ethical farm and what's your most ethical farm?
This is probably the most ethical farm because there's no mob involved. No mob gets killed through the use of this thing. Yeah, it's like half and half. Half of them do, half of them don't.
I feel like the iron farm's got to be the
least. Yeah, you burn them alive and just watch them. Yep. It's pretty, probably one of the least ethical ones that we have here. The live mason reaction of the plant.
I've definitely noticed a few things.
This guy's a noticer.
Yeah, I mean, that's most certainly true. I've actually been told that by my teachers.
Do you notice the shadows here? You know what they kind of resemble? Leaves.
They resemble weed leaves.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, when are you making a weed farm?
2 years ago, you said you wanted to give it a try, and then you never showed up. And that's why we got it on single player.
Yeah, I didn't end up doing it in Minecraft at least, but
yeah, I understand.
Definitely quote unquote gave it a shot.
Next up, little short project is the gold farm. One of the more unethical ones. As you see here, we have a large array of pigmen being funneled into these portals here. And you see what's doing that is their hatred of children. We have turtle eggs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The pigmen. It's programmed into the game that pigmen try and stomp on turtle eggs.
Yeah. So their hatred of children is the cause of their downfall here.
The fuel for the farm, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. Wait, just to be clear, do you think it's actually wrong to kill something before it's like born? Like to kill something that's
It's a good question.
Yeah, I was looking for like a good answer, but
all right, and that's everything. The live mason reaction. That's all we got, right? When are we gonna get a a live Mason building.
Okay, I am going off to college, but I will be taking Adderall, which will make me more motivated to actually focus on something. Maybe
It took us 2 weeks to get you to, just to be here to react to this. University. I don't know.
I hate college. Just put me in calculus. I promise I'll be good, guys. These guys are pretty similar to my college advisors trying to stomp on my fucking dreams.
All right, you want to take a guess at what the next major project is going to be?
It's not a rocket farm, is it?
That would be too. That would be too short-sighted.
You're setting your sights high.
Yes, higher than you and your weed art.
What are we looking for? Okay, calm down, calm down.
It's going to be a raid farm.
A raid
Not
farm?
Shadow Legends. Yeah.
Oh, is it like a Totem of Undying farm?
More importantly, huge farm for redstone and emeralds at the same time.
Yeah, I think there's one more thing I want to say. I want to say
Oh.
Elytra's 420 durability.
420.
This might be the greatest thing to ever happen.
It's the weed number.
Wait, give me 1 second.
Okay. Are you asking ChatGPT?
No, I'm not asking ChatGPT. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to check.
It's down, isn't it?
It's down. Okay, maybe I'm just logging in, hypothetically, if I was, but I'm not. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on new content. Hit that notification bell to stay updated on all my latest uploads. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. I love hearing from you.
It helps the algorithm.
Stay awesome, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, 10 million comments per commenter. 1 comment for every beer you would consume if your wife was screaming at you.
Let's go.